Hey y'all, I'm the Eclectic Blerd, and welcome to another Eclectic review. Today we're going to be reviewing Stranger Things, Chapter 5, entitled The Flea and the Acrobat. So before I get into my review, go ahead and give this video a like, subscribe to the channel where we do a lot of different reviews of different TV shows and movies. We do top fours, and we do what's trending. All of that stuff is coming as well. So just get a video like, subscribe to the channel, and become one of my eclectics. And we can just kind of conversate on all the things nerdy, geeky, eclectic as far as I'm concerned. So today we're going to get into Stranger Things Chapter 5, Episode 5, for those that haven't watched Stranger Things before. That episodes are in chapters like a book. And before I begin, my overall thought of this episode, I'm loving the series. And up to this point, I liked every episode up to this point. This episode, it was important. A lot of important things came out of the episode, and for some reason, it wasn't one of my favorites, but that doesn't mean it wasn't a good episode. It just wasn't what I kind of liked from the first 4 episodes. It just felt like, man, are you going to have every little pocket of people in the show argue and fight over something? But that's really kind of where I sit with it, but I still like the episode. It just wasn't as good as the other 4 episodes. And I'm pretty sure after this, the other episodes are going to be great as well. And it wasn't a filler episode because a lot of important things happened in it. But it just wasn't my general concept cup of tea. Maybe like I said, I think so much fighting and arguing going on. Okay, let me just get into it so you can see where I'm coming from. Now remember, with all my reviews, there are overviews, sometimes they're play-by-play, sometimes it's just a subject, sometimes they're in order, sometimes they're not. But that's just kind of how my reviews go. So let's get into it. So to begin the episode, you have the sheriff, Hopper, breaking into Hawkins' lab. So he gets in there, knocks out a couple people, gets to a certain point, and then they get to him and they stick him with something, and he wakes up in his trailer. And then all of a sudden, the rest of the police force show up and like, hey, you all right? Like, nah, I'm good, y'all go. So he go back inside, all of a sudden, he starts feeling frantic, looking like Joyce, right? And so he goes and starts tearing up telephone lines, looking through light bulbs, trying to find something in his house. And lo and behold, one of the last light fixtures that he gets, it's a bug in there. So at that point, he's really, really, really like, oh my God, some conspiracy stuff is going on in this joint. And so then you go to George. Remember the old father showed up, right? Ex-husband. I didn't like him from the beginning, and I still don't like this episode, but I digress. So he shows up, and they plan the funeral or whatever. And of course, Jonathan see him there like, bruh, what you doing in my house? Leave. And he's like, no, don't let your mama think all this okay. And so they have a little argument. Then the funeral happens. They go through, Joe's sitting there like, man, this ain't real. This can't be real. This can't be happening. She's sitting at the funeral like that. Afterwards, she's like that. When people were leaving, they weren't hugging and shaking her hand. They was shaking the hand of the ex-husband that everybody know Joyce and the kids don't like. just seemed kind of, wait, you shaking his hands? He had nothing to do with the kid. But I digress. So all that's going on, and let me just skip ahead. So eventually in the episode, she sees a flyer for a lawyer, and come to find out, old boy was trying to say, hey, there's no fence around that place, any kid could die. Like he gonna sue the city or the quarry or whatever for the accident, or the supposed accident, right? At that point, Joyce goes bananas on him and kicks him out. Like, get out, you don't care about him. You don't care about neither one of your sons. You don't know nothing about neither one of them. Quit trying to use them as a reason for trying to get money from the city. So she kicks him out, and he's off and going. So we come back to Hopper. He seems to show up shortly after that, and when he knocks, she's like, I told you to leave. But it's him, and he holds up paper like saying, don't say nothing, be quiet. He go in, and she see all those light bulbs. She's like, oh, snap. Because there was a light bulb in his house, right? So he goes through every light fixture, every light bulb, the Christmas lights in the house. Goes through that, doesn't find nothing. Then he's like, look, they bugged my house. I thought they was bugging yours too. And she's like, why would they bug your house? I went to the morgue. That wasn't your son. That wasn't Will, son. You were right. So at that point, Joyce feeling like, oh crap, that I'm not crazy. So let's go backwards to Jonathan and Nancy. So during the funeral, Jonathan decided to take the father's gun out the car, break into the glove compartment, take the gun, and leave. And him and Nancy like, look, we got to go by the woods to see what's going on. And he was like, what, you want to fight this without a gun? Man, look. So they get the gun, and she goes home, and he has to go get a bat, start practicing swinging a bat. And then Steve showed up like, man, I'm sorry for ratting you out and all that other good stuff. And she was like, oh, don't worry about it. And he started, flirting and stuff, trying to get her for him. But her mind is like, look, I need to figure out what's going on with Blerd. And so he leaves like, okay, I don't know what's going on, but I'll leave you to it. So he leaves. She meets up with him while he's practicing shooting the gun, and he hasn't hit not one can after shooting about 4 things. His aim is horrible. So she come in, first shot, hits it. So of course, hey, she carries the gun because she's the better shooter based on what they did in that 2 or 3 minute scene. So they go to the woods and just kind of talking with each other about different things. She brings up the picture, and he brings up what it means, and then they get into this big argument about each other and preconceptions about each other. And so it's this big fight. Now they're not talking and mad at each other when they're supposed to be in there trying to find the faceless monster that's in the woods, and they fight with each other. That never works. It never, I don't care if you're a superhero team, you cannot argue amongst yourself because it would never work out for you when you're doing that. So they doing all that. So next thing you know, they kind of keep looking in the woods after the fight, and then they see something, and it's a deer. So they're about to shoot the deer, and then it gets grabbed real fast. Now they're looking around trying to find what happened. They separate a little bit, and Nancy see her opening a tree. She go in it, and she's in the upside down. Oh, they named it the upside down in the episode today. Well, it happened in episode 1, I think, or 2. Episode 1 or 2, where they said it, but now I think it's officially the Goonies had named it the upside down. So she busts in there, going in there, looking around like, bar. Then she see the thing eating the deer. So she's starting to back up slowly. Then she steps on a piece of wood, and things turns around and opens. It's like, looks like an alien, right? And then, of course, from a general standpoint, it ends right there, and the little opening starts to close. So we have to wait till the next episode to see what happened with Nancy, right? While she's in somehow found the opening to the Upside Down. Now let's get back to the Goonies. So the Goonies, after the funeral, they go and talk to their professor, Mr. Clark, who's the science professor, the one that gave them the things to talk to, and just kind of talks to them about nerdy things. And they start asking about Upside Down. Oh, they asked Elle, where is he? And she was like, upside down. And then Michael's like, yeah, he took the board and turned it upside down. So it's like, and it's just like the shadow realm. Yeah. And so they're asking, could other dimensions be there where it's the exact same thing, but it's different, it's a shadowy of the same thing we have, which they're calling the upside down, right? Well, Elle called it that, and I guess they're calling it too. So I'm going to call it the upside down. It's easier than shadow realm and dimensions. I'm not a big Dungeons and Dragons fan anymore. I was when I was younger, but I didn't have anybody to play with. So Dungeons and Dragons is a hard game to play if it's just you. I had a few books here and there, but that's it. But I digress. So he goes into this thing about how can you have dimensions. So basically, it takes a lot of energy to do it. And it's basically, he explained it like a tightrope, like an Acrobat and a Flea. The Acrobat can only go forward and backward, but the Flea can go every which way, but you need the energy to bust a hole through the continuum in order for you to go back and forth between the realms. And he was saying that's impossible because you'll be causing all kind of disruptions with the magnetic field and all this other stuff is going to be going on. So after that, they decide, oh, let's go find the opening. And so Dustin realized, hey, we can use the, what you call it? I forgot them things. Where you can figure north, south, east, west. Use a compass, right? So they take the compasses and start following it. And Elle is looking like, no, no, no. And they keep like, yeah, come on, come on, come on. But she's looking kind of afraid to go. And while they're going, it seemed like Elle, messed with the compasses. And then Dustin like, hey, we're going back home. And then all of a sudden there's a big fight because Luke is like, she's doing it. She's the monster, blah, blah. And so they're fighting. And then Elle just gets real scared and frustrated and yells like, ah! Pushes the two people apart and pushes Lucas until he bumps his head against some metal. Then he gets up and walks off angry. Then Elle disappears. So now it's just Dustin and Will standing there. And of course, that was their last scene. Right? And so basically, if you split up what's happening, we have the original Goonies with Elle, and Elle's in part of the original Goonies now. They have a fight. It's four of them. Now we're down to two. Luke is gone. Elle's gone. Mike and Dustin are still together. Then you have the two adults, who are the Sheriff Hopper and Joyce, Will's mom. And then you have the two teenagers, which is Jonathan and Nancy. And now Nancy's stuck in the upside down, I think. And Jonathan's looking for her like, hey, I see your stuff, where you at? And start yelling her name. And then Stranger Things, and it goes off. So if I start trying to connect the dots for everything, I'm happy that everybody's basically understanding that, look, Will probably still living. There's no in-betweens with that. They're all starting to believe that Will's alive. They're believing that Barb's alive. At least Nancy and Jonathan. Everybody's starting to believe that there's a monster down there. I think the Goonies, the young Goonies, are calling it a Demogorgon from Dungeons and Dragons. So now everybody's purpose is there, except now they're fractured. So in order for it to work, they're going to have to do something because they can't be fractured in order to for something to come together, for them to figure out what's going on. You have to work as a team. And so overall, like I said, it was a good episode. There's a lot of little dots in there. I really like the Mr. Clark. He taps into the nerdy things, and he seems like the smartest scientific explanation of when things happen. They go to him, and he's like, oh, you can do so many things with blah. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they use him a lot for that. Or he might just be in this episode and they just kill Barb off after 5 seconds on screen. But I digress. But all that's going on. So at this point, it's hard to figure out what's going to happen next because it's kind of, we're fractured now. So we're going to have to probably come back together in the next episode because, what is it, only 8 episodes a season? So we'll see because we're already going into episode 6. So it was like I said, it was a good episode. Not one of my favorite, but it seemed like it was important. A lot of little things happened. A lot of things were tied together. The only thing is that there were a bunch of arguments and fights and a bunch of fracturing of teams. But we'll see what happens next. But I just want to thank y'all for clicking on this video, for watching all my eclectic reviews of Stranger Things. I'm so glad that my wife convinced me to watch this show. I'm going to be doing Falcon and the Winter Soldier as well as a review. We got another top 4 coming out within the week, so there's a lot going on. And again, as a reminder, just click the like button, click the subscribe to the channel, comment, and let us know what you think about it. What I said was right or wrong. Just don't spoil it for me, right? I love interacting with you guys, and if you want to interact about different things, because I don't do videos on everything, I don't talk about everything, but you can conversate with me directly on Twitter at Blerd Eclectic. You can talk to me on Instagram at _eclectic_blerd, or you can follow this channel on Facebook at What the Soul. I love to talk to you there, and I want to say thank y'all again. I'm so enjoying doing this with everybody. Until next time, I'm out.